Hare Krishna, Namaste. Chapter 15 is entitled as Purushottama Vidya, Purushottama Yogam. Sloka 10. Utkrāmantaṁ sthitaṁ vāpi, bhuñjānaṁ guṇānvitam, vimūḍhā nānupaśyanti, paśyanti jñāna-cakṣuṣaḥ. Having heard that the Atma, the living entity, as it departs from one body to another body, it carries the senses and mind, and over there, in the new body that it has attained, it continues its business to satisfy these senses, but the satisfaction it gets compared to the distress and sorrows is lesser. Even if one says one gets more happiness and less sorrow, then that is also temporary, as one is not going to continue in that same body for eternity. That raised a question in Arjuna's mind. What is the fundamental reason for all this suffering that the living entities has to go through? There is something which is lacking in these living entities which makes them to suffer. Arjuna would like to know that determining factor which makes one to be entangled in this samsara tree. Krishna addresses that question in this sloka. The fundamental reason is atmapaharam, because the living entity has stolen their atma. The living entities are all belong to the Lord. When it starts thinking differently from the true factor, that means they have stolen the atma from the owner. Thinking oneself to be independent from the Lord, thinking oneself to be the body, all these are called atmapaharam, a thief of atma. The living entities which are tied by the shackles of karmas, the heaps of sins, is encased in the prison of a body. When he enters into the body, when he is in the body for some time, and when he departs from the body, he thinks he is the one who has taken birth as this body. He is the one who is grown from baby to childhood to youth to man and old man, and he dies. During this period, he gets some meager pleasure he enjoys while in the body. It is like licking a part of wounded skin where a spot of honey has dropped. This is all because of the failure to perceive the real nature of the Atma, which belongs to the Supreme Lord, Krishna. Just because we are unable to see the self, Atma, doesn't deny the existence of the Atma. There are many things in the world that we have not seen, we are unable to see, but we strongly believe they exist. So this sloka gives us the answer that those who are unable to discriminate the self from the body are the ones who suffer, or the ones who are unable to see the self, the Atma, whereas those who has the discriminating power through proper knowledge will be able to see the Atma. Now let's understand the sloka. Vimūḍhā, foolish persons, those who misconceive the body as the self, guṇānvitam, in association with the body, which is under the spell of the modes of material nature, three gunas, utkrāmantaṁ, quitting the body after death, sthitaṁ, who takes birth in many places, bhuñjānaṁ vāpi, who, while existing in the body and experiences happiness and sorrow, this self, that is, this Atma, nānupaśyanti, do not perceive it as a form of knowledge, as different from the body, etc. Jñāna-cakṣuṣaḥ, those who have the eyes of knowledge, paśyanti, can see. Translation: the foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. Vimūḍhā nānupaśyanti, the foolish do not see. He doesn't see that he is an Atma, not this body, but he does see that he is the body, not as an Atma, which is different from the body. Therefore, for mudhas, foolish people, there is no difference. They consider body and Atma to be one and the same. Because they cannot discriminate, what they see is only the body. They cannot see the Atma. They are called pindatma abhimani. Pindam means a lump of flesh. This body is nothing but a lump of flesh. For them, the attachment and understanding, everything is about this body, nothing beyond the body. While in the body of a devata, he thinks he is a devata. While he takes a body of Manushya, he thinks he is a human. When he takes a body of a lion, he thinks he is lion. While present in that particular body, being influenced by the three modes, he performs respective activity, having a strong idea that I am the body, I am the doer. These things belongs to me. I am born, I am enjoying, I am suffering, I am getting old, I am diseased, I am dying. Throughout his journey in that body, he thinks himself to be the body. So whatever changes that the body is going through, he thinks himself going through these changes. He is unable to see and understand that he has taken this body and he is going to leave this body and he is going to take another body and again going to continue the same business. Therefore Krishna calls them as mudha, foolish people. They don't understand that unless one understands that the body and soul are two separate, distinctly separate entities, just saying separate entity is not going to be the right way of understanding, because one water bottle and there's a second water bottle. They are two separate bottles, but they are made of same matter. Whereas Atma and Sharira, the body, are separate. Not only separate, they are distinctly different by nature, as they say, by their make. Not even one factor is common between the Prakriti and Jivatma. When we say Prakriti, it is the body in this context. Because they are unable to understand, they don't have the knowledge of Atma and Sharira as two different entities, they think when the body dies, they are dying. Rather, thinking that the Atma has to attain moksha to avoid coming back into another body, into the samsara tree. This subject matter of Atma and Sharira, how they are different, how one can understand they are different from each other, is an easy subject matter to understand practically. But still this simple subject is not understood by these people. Therefore Krishna calls them vimūḍhā, foolish people. If I am blind, I cannot deny the existence of an object that is right in front of me. It is a problem with me, not with the object. Just because I am not able to see the Atma doesn't mean the Atma doesn't exist. It is simply because of the absence of the eye of knowledge. After explaining this, Krishna says, jñāna-cakṣuṣaḥ paśyanti. Those bestowed with the eye of knowledge, they understand that the Atma come in contact with the body. While in the body, it experiences the objects through the influence of the three modes, and then goes through pain and pleasure. Then at one point it leaves this body and goes to another body. He could see that the Atma has no connection with the body in actuality. He doesn't see himself to be the body which is made of the five elements. Rather, he identifies himself as jñāna-cakṣuṣaḥ. That is, the Atma is made of jnana. Therefore, they are pindatma vivekis, whereas the previous one are pindatma abhimanis. Therefore, those who have developed spiritual knowledge can see that the spirit is different from the body and is changing its body and enjoying in different ways. That person in such knowledge can understand how the conditioned living entity is suffering in this material existence. Srila Prabhupada in his purport says, therefore those who are highly developed in Krishna consciousness try their best to give this knowledge to the people in general, for their conditional life is very much troublesome. They should come out of it and be Krishna conscious and liberate themselves to transfer to the spiritual world. To summarize, those who consider the body as their self do not perceive the self as being different from the body, as having knowledge as his nature, whereas those having the eye of knowledge, which discriminates the self from the body, perceive the self as different at all times. All times meaning whether the self associated with the body, which is the product of Prakriti and its three gunas, or while experiencing the sense objects, or while departing from the body. He is able to discriminate the self from the body. The next verse informs us of the important means to realize the self. Utkrāmantaṁ sthitaṁ vāpi bhuñjānaṁ guṇānvitam vimūḍhā nānupaśyanti paśyanti jñāna-cakṣuṣaḥ. Namaste. Hare Krishna.